Today we're going to be having a look at these Icicle Lights. Right, let's get the archive section out the way because it's going to take the longest. Icicle Lights. Probably the single most produced style of lights in the 80s and 90s. They were very prevalent in the 90s. A lot of cheap sets were made. Some went in a straight line, some went in a circle. The designs are pretty much the same. It's an icicle shade, clear translucent part with a white base. Multiple sets by different makers. Got a lot of unknown off-brands here. Eventually we'll get to some of the more bigger names. Most of the big players made Icicle Lights. Woolworths did. Woolworths made them throughout the 80s and 90s. Mazda. Livia made really early versions of these, possibly the first company to make them, because the box looks very 60s, 70s. Noma made them. They called them Jack Frost lights rather than Icicle Lights. Premier made them. Strangely enough, out of all the big names that made Icicle Lights, Pifco never made Icicle Lights. They never had their own version. And the style of Icicle Lights, the shade shape, is very unique. And it would have made a nice addition to the Pifco catalogue, but they didn't. I don't have any pictures of them, but I have a really weird set of Icicle Lights. They're pretty much miniature Icicle Lights where they have the white base, but the icicles are a lot smaller, and the icicle part itself is coloured. Very interesting. You could get most of the Icicle Lights came coloured, but there were some sets that had clear bulbs. I know I have a couple of sets that have clear bulbs, but they're mainly sets that I've made up. I used to get the cheap sets that you could get from Poundland way back when in the 90s for £1, take all the shades off, and I had a set of thick black cable set of 40 lights, and I used to just put the Icicle Lights on there just to make it a nice set, have some nice shades on it to make it look not so boring, and they look alright in clear, to be fair. I quite like the clear Icicle Lights, they grew on me. But as you can see, just set after set after set of multiple companies and styles and designs. They're all pretty much the same, but just such a mass-produced style of light. So As for ours, I'm not going to attempt to even try and identify which set they are. These are a very old set. These are 1980s. These belonged to my parents. My earliest memory of them will be very late 80s when they got them. I know they got a load of new lights in the late 80s. They got a shadeless set of 40 from Woolworth, which I now have in my possession. Go through them one day. They had these, and they bought a set of Premier 20 Santa headlights, which I also now have. And these always used to go around the same archway in the dining room, and they are pretty much complete. There are no variations of shades. None of the shades have been replaced. This shade has a can't quite open it up, but you can just see inside there. See that big piece of plastic sticking up? It's like a mold mistake, a mistake on the mold. Come on, let's get this apart. There we go. So the shades do come apart. There's your icicle part. I mean, to be fair, it does look like an icicle. I'd have, to be fair, it's as close to an icicle as you're going to get. It's just this bit always baffled me. I don't know why they just didn't do this in clear, but look at that big piece of plastic. It looks like, oh, hello. Oh, well, it's snapped off now. Looks like a false nail. It's obviously gone brittle with age. So that slides in. It's nice and tight. They have several air holes. They've got elongated ones here on each side, and then a small one here. So plenty of ventilation for them. They're bayonet fit. There's your bulb holders. Bulbs. Have a look. This isn't an original bulb. This is a newer edition. Possibly a set of cheap lights that I've bought, and just because years ago I used to get cheap sets from Poundland and just take all the bulbs out to swap into other lights. A lot of the time they don't fit most lights, but they fit these ones. So I'd looked at it, all the bulbs have been replaced at some point, because they did look very faded. Yeah, all the bulbs are replaced. Let's get them lit up. There you go. Colours are really good on them. The yellow are more orange. The blues are starting to fade. This green one's a bit faded. Oh, you can tell I've been at these lights. This is the fuse bulb. I've painted it to match. But it's still got the white tip on it. You can still see it. Camera's not picking it up, but that is quite green. There's a lot of banding around there. A little bit of refraction coming through. You see that? Good bit of refraction. But yeah, heavily mass produced. They're a classic. They're more what I would class as a modern set, because they're like 80s, 90s. As in for classic lights, they're a more modern set. These ones still have the thin green cable, which is always good. But they're a classic. They're a design. Everybody pretty much had a set of these at one point. Anybody who had Christmas lights probably pretty much had a set of these. These ones are the more robust, nicely made ones, good quality, a little bit of loose plastic aside, but as the years went on, the quality got worse and worse and worse. The shades came in multiple variations. You get thick ones, long ones, small ones, short ones, coloured ones, but they're super rare. I'll have to dig the ones that I have out, but there we go. Icicle Lights. These are probably just a generic set. They could have been made by one of the big names, but there you go. You got a set of these? Have you had a set of these? Let us know in the comments below. And I'll catch you on the next one.